So, hello and welcome to our new episode. I'm personally really happy to host dear Ayat today. And I will just keep it short and give the platform to dear Ayat. We will start with the first classical question. Maybe you can introduce yourself. Who is Ayat? And yeah, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Amir. Thank you for having me today on your platform. Thank you for giving me the chance to talk about my master thesis. It's like since 6 years ago, but still, for me, it's still interesting to talk about it. So
Yeah.
thank you for giving me this opportunity. My name is Eyad. I would say my name in Arabic and the English way. My name is Eyad Qaoud in Arabic, but in English or German way, they say Qaoud.
Yes.
This is my name. I studied architecture for 5 years in Damascus University. And then I moved on to Germany 2015, studying my master degree in RWTH University in Aachen from 2017 to 2019. It was in urban planning. And my master thesis was about a district or a neighborhood in Damascus, which is called Yarmouk. And Yarmouk Camp, I would explain later why it is called a camp.
Yeah, yeah, perfect, perfect. Thanks for your introduction and for your explanation. I think we already talked about it. Just going through your master thesis is somehow a self reflection of your ideas, your design methods, and your approaches. That's why it's also good just to go through your master thesis because there are lots of answers for so many questions there. But before going through your master thesis and talk about it, I wanted to ask you the question, how was the atmosphere in the RWTH University? And maybe you can explain for us about the faculty, the professors, and the approach of the faculty. How was your experience there?
In general, it was a very good experience. From the beginning, Aachen as a city is a beautiful city for students. For living there as a student, I didn't have a very good experience in the city, but the
Mhm.
university itself was really a great experience. It was also a very big difference from our classic universities in Syria. I would say most of
Mhm.
the universities in Syria have like a think art of way of thinking, and it's the whole different thing is in Germany, or I don't know, it's in the whole of Germany, or is it especially that this way in RWTH because they teach you the critical thinking. And this
Mhm.
is the most important thing I learned in the university in Aachen.
Mhm.
This is the most valuable thing that changed my whole perspective, just not only in architecture or in urban planning, but also on a personal level.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
changed the whole way of thinking. The professors were mostly very collaborative. They would help you. They will discuss with you
Mhm.
on one level. They don't see you as a student, but they see you as a researcher. Even if you are making a bachelor degree or a master degree, you are almost on the same level. You can discuss with the professors on the same level.
That's
And
interesting.
this is a beautiful thing that I learned also in Aachen.
You mean that there is not a classical hierarchy in the education system?
Exactly. There is still some hierarchy, but it's much less than our hierarchy in Syria. Like in Syria,
Mm.
if the professor says anything, so it's like the most correct thing in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah.
But you still can discuss with the professors in Germany in general or in Aachen, especially on every little details. It's not like teaching something. The professors are not teaching you something. They are asking you to learn. This is
Mm.
maybe the proper way to say it.
That's really interesting. They're somehow motivating you to go through it, to research about it, just to, that's really interesting. And how was there? I would say that in the university or in the faculty, did you feel some dominant approach or some dominant design approach, or what was the factors that were really important? Did you
I
feel
would
something like this?
I would say there was some dominant approach, and I would say about my the apartment I studied in, which is urban planning.
Hmm.
There was like a dominant approach, and it was like how to say it, a left approach, if I
Okay, yeah.
say it this way. It's a left approach. You can see that in the economical thinking, in the social thinking, and the urban thinking in general. That this is a thing that we always heard from most of the professors. They also were like a part of parties here in Germany. Most of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
professors are part
I
of
understand.
parties, and the left parties or the green ones or something
Hmm.
like this.
Yeah, yeah. You mean they were also really active in political scene and they were really engaged in just the social aspects of the
Yes,
society.
of course.
And maybe you can also give us some examples about which kind of courses did you have there?
We had each semester, I had 4 semesters. Each semester we had a main project. One project went for 2 semesters because it was a big project. So
Hmm.
in 4 semesters we had 3 main projects. One of them was the master thesis. We had like some seminars called Planning and Democracy, which is very interesting, about landscaping.
Hmm.
I forgot most of the seminars that I had, but it was
But it's already very interesting. Planning and democracy and democracy in English. I think that's already a very interesting approach. Uh, because I don't want to give you the names, but as you know, both of us, we are living in Cologne, and I know the faculties somehow around the city, the faculties of architecture and planning. And in most of them, I didn't really feel such an approach. And as you said, the social aspect is very dominant there. Yeah, very interesting. So I
it
think
is
with
very
this,
dominant.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
No, no,
maybe the
please
internet
go,
is a
go
bit
on.
slow. It is the social and environmental aspect is very dominant at the
Hmm.
university. You
Yeah,
could
yeah,
clearly see it.
yeah,
Even the
yeah.
books and publishments of the university, they came from sometimes from the Green Party of Germany.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, with this introduction, if you're agree, let's just start just to explore your master thesis.
Yarmouk Camp, it's called Yarmouk Camp. It's a neighborhood in Syria, in the south of Damascus. It's like 8 kilometers away from the center of Damascus. It's mostly Palestinian refugees. I have a personal attachment to this neighborhood because I was born there. I grew up there for until I was 18. I lived there, and then we moved out of the Yarmouk camp. It was called. I call it. It's not the that I call it a camp, but it's the official name of the neighborhood. It's still called Yarmouk Camp. So I want to show you also, Amir, some impressions of the neighborhood. So
Yeah, please.
maybe some videos show a lot better than 1,000 words. So you can see the development of this neighborhood depends somehow on the background of the family. Some families used the 80 square meters to build a small home and agricultural backyard and planted some plants there in the backyard. Some families built the whole land and made workshops of them, made some classes for learning for the children. So these needs came from the different backgrounds. They developed from the backgrounds of the families that they came from. Yes, as I said, an organization, Palestinian Refugee Organization, rented parts of the whole land in the south of Damascus and gave some areas to different families, and they built it with different ways, randomly, without like a permission to build. Just they built what they need. It's the Yarmouk camp wasn't wasn't like a typical slum, I would say. It was somehow organized because there are streets, there's some infrastructure, but most of the buildings are built without a permit. You have a main organization of the whole neighborhood, but still most of the houses are built without a permit.
Okay.
And this is a problem I would talk about later on.
Okay. And actually, the builders actually were the homeowners, and they were not professional, maybe work laborers. Am I right?
Exactly. They're just like most of the camp, since it was established until it was unfortunately destroyed during the war, were built with just normal builders who didn't have experience with building. They built the whole houses. Most of the houses were built with like stone bricks.
Okay.
Without isolation, without any architectural identity.
Okay.
And this is you see the picture now. This is a picture from 2012, just like months before the big destruction and big conflict in the Yarmouk camp. But I would go a little bit in the history again back. The camp had at the beginning 90,000 people. It developed until 2009 to almost 360,000 people in 2 square kilometers. That's a very high density, and this is one of the biggest problems in the neighborhood. 2011, as you know, like the war started in Syria and the surrounding areas in Damascus. A lot of people fled also to the Yarmouk camp. So the population, I don't have any numbers, but the population increased dramatically in 2011 until the end of 2012.
Yeah.
In 2013, I mean, for some political reasons, why the character of the camp was always Palestinian. Even if most of people are not Palestinian in it, with that side, with the time, the population developed to mostly Syrians, but a lot of Palestinian, a lot of Iraqis, a lot of Lebanese, and some international organization. It was a very big mix of people in this neighborhood, but it had its Palestinian character still, and it was a place where you can say it was called how do you say it, the little Palestine in exile.
Yeah.
Like the little Palestine in exile.
Interesting.
2013, people went away from the neighborhood because of the battles that happened there. 2015 came, ISIS took over the neighborhood, and from 2015 until 2018, there were like very heavy battles between ISIS and the Syrian government at that time, which caused to major destruction in the whole city, in the whole neighborhood. At this time, there was only like 600 families still living in the neighborhood, and at this time, people even died from hunger because the neighborhood was sieged from from ISIS from one side, from the Syrian government back then from the other side. So it was very dramatically destroyed also at this time.
Yeah.
Very,
as you said, I think the good word for that is really dramatic. And yeah, please go on.
Yeah, I would show you some pictures of the satellite maps, how the same place, how it was here on the right. You would see the same area. This is a mosque. This was a school. And how it is destroyed here. It was before damage and after damage. You can see from here satellite images from different parts of the neighborhood, how they were and how they were damaged, like severely damaged. The whole infrastructure was damaged, and by 2018 there was just very few people there. Nowadays, some people are going back, trying to get the damage to fix their homes. Some people who cannot afford the rent in Damascus, they try to go back and still live between destruction.
Yeah. But in the parentheses, maybe a question: how is the current situation there?
You still have very poor infrastructure. You still cars cannot pass by to all the streets. You still have very limited shops, very limited food supply, very limited water supply. Most of the people who are going back in the northern part of the neighborhood because it's the closest to the city, so they can get to the city directly.
Okay.
But these part of the neighborhood are totally destroyed, so there's no possibility to go back.
Yeah, I understand.
And this time, most of the people are fled out of sometimes out of Damascus, sometimes out of Syria. People are distributed all over the world.
Yeah.
It's now even going back, it's a very big issue. It's just to having the documents. If you have the documents for your home to prove that you had a home there, it's a very complicated and difficult process, I would guess.
And we are talking about somewhere that you spend your also childhood there, right?
Yes.
And I understand how big is your attachment and how you reflect also yourself somehow in your thesis. Yeah.
Yes, as I was living there, this is also maybe interesting thing to mention. As I was living there, or as a child, you cannot see the problems you're living in. You take it as granted. You think this is the whole world. The whole world is like this. So you don't see the problems. As a architect student, you start to understand the structure you're living in, the society you're living in. And as I came to Germany and got this critical thinking, I realized just even before the war, I realized how big the problems were in this neighborhood. Because as I see here, it's a very highly dense, very high density here in this
Right.
area.
Right.
It's some homes, they don't even have fences. They don't have like natural light getting into homes. And that causes a lot of health problems, a lot of social problems. It was the neighborhood was at some point full of crimes, drug uses, and child labor. All
Yeah.
these problems I could understand after starting to study the neighborhood, really.
Mm.
Of course, these are like, let me say, the weaknesses of the neighborhood. On the other side, there was like a very strong social network. You would, even if there are like 500,000 people living there, you would know a lot of people here. You'd go through the street, you
Yeah.
greet a lot of people, you would meet a lot of people that you would know. So the social structure was very strong in this neighborhood. This is a strength that I was relying on in my approach in my master
Okay.
thesis.
That's interesting. You made a kind of analysis about the strength point and the weak points, and after that, according to these analyses, you developed your actually design approach.
Exactly. I'll go through with
Yeah.
my exposé,
Yes, please.
maybe talk a little bit. I just talked
Mm-hmm.
about the location of the neighborhood according to Damascus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is like the situation before damage, and just
Yeah.
like the current situation, I would say before damage. You would see
Mm-hmm.
this triangle was connected to the Damascus city at this point.
Yeah.
Only at this point, just the strongest connection, I would say. There are weaker connections to the neighboring areas, but they are not. The like the camp or the neighborhood was somehow isolated from the city. Even if it's very close to the city, it was very isolated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
On the west side, there was like an agricultural land that makes the west border of the neighborhood. And to the south side, there were like also some informal settlements.
Mm-hmm.
Also for other, let me say, other social groups of immigrants
Okay.
who emigrated in the 70s within Syria. From the
Mm-hmm.
south of
Mm-hmm.
Syria, they immigrated or fled within Syria to this part of the city.
Okay. You
This had,
know, dear
sorry.
Ayad, I read it like this, that there are lots of layers there, lots of different backgrounds, and uh, yeah, it's really observable that there are lots of layers there, as you said, people with different backgrounds, and so that's really interesting. Yeah.
Yes, it's close to also, this is also, I would say, a problem in general in Damascus. You would find neighborhoods with different ethnic backgrounds sometimes, or with different religious backgrounds. So
Hmm.
this neighborhood had a Palestinian character. This neighborhood had another character, religious character, and this one also a third different character. So all of them are uh, near each other, but still somehow isolated from each other.
Mm. And is it conflictual? Is there any conflict between these different groups there?
The conflict showed up during the war.
Okay.
This conflict wasn't there before the war. It was like, I don't know if it was hidden or it wasn't at the surface, at least. This conflict came to the surface during the war.
I understand. Okay.
About the land use of the neighborhood, or mostly housing, but in each building you would find sometimes on the roof, some markets. Sometimes you would see in ground floor, some shops, some restaurants. There's the main street, Al Yarmouk Street, and there
Mm-hmm.
was like the Palestine Street. This one was called the Palestine Street and the Yarmouk Street, and this is what the west border. This agricultural area, or it was like one of the most important places to get some fresh air for the
Yeah.
people, even
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
it's like somehow a waste dump, but still the best
Yeah.
place to get fresh air in this dense area.
Yeah.
Excuse me. There are a lot of schools. These in greens, there are schools operated by United Nations. Over 20 mosques, very little green areas. You see here these areas that are colored green. They are colored green, but they are not really parks or just like open spaces with no trees, no green areas, just like open spaces. Sometimes they are used as small parks or sometimes as a small playing ground or sometimes most time as waste dump.
Okay. Interesting.
As I said, I mean the camp or the neighborhood had numerous problems. Most
Mm.
important is one of them is the vertical expansion
Mm.
because of the growth demand to the population growth. People didn't find horizontal land to grow to build on it. They just
Mm.
found a vertical place to expand their homes. Most of the time, as I said, without a permit, building permit, without any consideration of the static of the building. So it was
Mm.
made a danger for the buildings, for the people who are living here. As we see here in this picture, there are almost 3 stories that are built only from bricks, without isolation, without any architectural identity, built over 1-story house.
Yeah.
So, and this problem you would see all over the neighborhood. An illustration here from Riyad Sharaf. It's the title of it, The Right to the City.
Mm.
And you can see there's no right to natural light in this illustration. And this was one of the main problems in Yarmouk Camp in
Yeah.
our neighborhood. I tried to ask myself in this thesis many questions, like
Mm-hmm.
what uses do the building typologies in this neighborhood serve? What requirements and needs must the typologies in the neighborhood fulfill? And what measurements have the resident taken to adapt private spaces to their needs?
Mm-hmm.
What are the solutions have residents implemented in these private spaces to promote
Yeah.
social interaction and communication? So this is like a small analysis of the typology that was used in the neighborhood. You would
Mm-hmm.
see how the buildings are very dense to each other. You would see how people built some stories on the roofs. They used the roofs as a place to of a gathering. They used them for workshops sometimes. They used them for breeding birds. They used them for workshops, for restaurants. So it's a multifunctional building, and this was a um, very strong point in my
Yeah.
opinion in these typologies. It's a very multifunctional, and it is somehow it is working, but still there are a lot of problems that are causing also some social I would say it's some social conflicts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because,
Yeah. Yeah.
for example, a building with 8 families, they always had a conflict who has the right to build on the roof,
Bah.
who has the right to make the workshop or their class or their practice
Interest.
on the roof. So
Yeah,
this,
because it's informal way of building something there, and no one can actually argue this is my right or this is your right.
there's no any how say it, any documents to say this is my right or this is your right.
Yeah, yeah. Or there's no observation or control system about it.
Yes, exactly. And that has
Interesting.
caused a lot of social conflicts. And sometimes, if you are faster, you can build, and if
Yeah.
you have more money, you can build. If you have less money, so you have a bad luck.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is like a
Yeah.
framework plan for me. The main approach was like to make green corridors,
Mm,
linking the east and the west side of the neighborhood, linking it with also the neighboring areas,
yeah,
expanding the streets because the main street was very crowded. No places for it was because of the street was used for transportation, for markets, for leisure areas. So it was very, very crowded. So one of the approaches was expanding the main streets, make very different spaces. These green
yeah,
stars show very different spaces, cultural green or blue cultural or just public spaces
yeah,
uh, distributed all over the neighborhood. And of course, making some cultural centers in the
mm,
neighborhood. One of
yeah,
the weaknesses of this neighborhood that you have a lot of religious places, but you have very few cultural places.
mm,
Um, at some time, you can find some mosques that are used as a cultural place, but I thought that you would need some more cultural places to change maybe a little bit in the mentality of
yeah,
people
yeah,
to maybe
yeah,
hear
yeah.
my language also.
Maybe, maybe some more independent centers that because I know that when the cultural activities are taking place in religious actually places, it can be mosque, it can be church or whatever. At the end of the day, there will be probably the effect of that mentality, and your approach was just trying to provide a platform which is independent and maybe welcoming for all the people with different backgrounds.
Yes,
Um,
right. Because public spaces is a very big problem in Damascus in general and in such dense, high density areas also. You could not find public spaces, I would say open public spaces, because you have the streets used also as a public space, but you would never find a public square where
yeah,
people meet. And this is what I meant with these like stars. They would create some public spaces, public squares, and I focused on my study on the eastern part or this central part of the
hmm
neighborhood.
hmm. Very interesting.
Also, the mobility and transportation and the connection between the east and the west side was very important. So, one of the
Mm.
approaches to make new connections, more important connections between the east and the west side.
Yeah,
Of course, you would need a connection to the city, but that would need a bigger strategy on the whole city scale.
yeah, 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 of course.
This plan shows like the green corridors
Hmm.
are also connecting the city from east and west, and connecting the neighborhood with the agricultural areas. That was the only place, as I said, to get some fresh air for people who are living there.
Yeah.
This strategy needs a reduction of density of people.
Mm-hmm.
And this strategy would only work with a bigger strategy on the whole scale of the city, because you are at some point making less density. That means people should have to move out of the place.
Yeah.
But for me, it was an opportunity because a lot of people are now out of their homes. Most of people are out of their homes. Most of people left this neighborhood forever. A lot of people left the neighborhood forever. A lot of people are not willing to go back. So anyway, there are a reduction of density, and was a part of this strategy, because, as I said, the whole neighborhood is totally damaged. There's a lot of damage, and I used this damage to use it for my strategy for expansion, for the streets, for making public areas, for making green areas, and making also less dense, making the neighborhood less dense.
Yeah, understand.
We can see here like the demolishing strategy in this in this plan. Here to the right, you would see what there are, let me say it, there are different layers over each other here. Some layers you would see the current damage, and at some layer the buildings that I want to demolish.
Yeah.
So you can use I used like the damage that is already happening or already happened, and to demolish also some of the buildings that are, let me say, in the way of making green corridors, or in the way of the expansion of the streets and making public areas.
Yeah. I find what you're doing is very important, because at the end of the day, you're trying just to increase the livability and the quality of living here. And that's why you need some actions there, like just building up this green corridor, just to help the city part just to be able to breathe. That's why I find your approach very interesting and also very essential for a context like this.
Thank you for saying it in a better word, making the city breathe. Maybe this is could be a title of the master thesis, making.
Yeah, because I felt it, I felt it as the way you explained your approach, the context there. I felt it that you are trying to help the city part just to brace a little bit, a little bit more light, better air quality, better living quality, and at the end of the day, more livable.
Yes, you're right. And going from abstract lines to actual lines, let me say, with making the green corridors. This is the part of the neighborhood, the central part. So you would say that the green corridors coming to the center area, you would see some open spaces between the houses. You would see some public spaces or some shops between the houses. That, as I said, you are tried to make the buildings breathe, with making between every two or three buildings some kind of public space.
Yeah,
a place to meet, or a market, or just only a green space.
yeah.
And in this green space, I wanted to make also a cultural center, which is in a way of a cultural building sitting beside the mosque. The mosque had a very important role, let me say,
Mm,
in the mentality, and I would keep it in my strategy and mix it with some market places, because a mosque it converts very rapidly from a place of worship, especially on Fridays, to market places in the
mm.
background.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of my visions was to let me say, to mix this marketplaces with the green spaces and with a cultural center in the center of the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it brings also somehow economic vitality there, because as you said, on Friday, the mosque is not only a place to worship, but a kind of interactions for economical reasons, for social reasons. And I would also like to comment that I see that the cultural center is somehow at the heart, at the center of your strategy, right? At least I'm reading in this way.
It is at the exactly, literally at the center of my
Okay.
strategy.
Okay.
Maybe if I take another look critically now on my approach, maybe I would do it in another way. I
Okay.
still think you will have to have some other centers in the neighborhood than only religious places. It's
Mm,
good to have the religious places, but you still need some educational, cultural centers. Um, Maybe I wouldn't put it in this centric way as I
mm.
put it here, but I would still give it a very big role in my
Okay.
strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Trying to develop also a building typology, a new building typology that is coming from different sides, let me say. From one side, it's coming from the social from the social aspects in the old city of Damascus. You would see
Mm,
these old houses with a square in the middle. All of the windows are open to into the house. You would never
mm,
find a window uh, to the outside of the house, because private sphere was very important for people. From one side, I took somehow this typology. From other side, I want to take the typology in the neighborhood that was existing. Like I said,
mm,
they used the rooftops, they used the first floor or the ground floor for some shops, and developed a new typology consisting of a mix of the traditional homes in Damascus and the typology that was existing in the Yarmouk uh,
okay.
neighborhood.
Hmm. 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 And that is the typology that you're offering.
And this is the typology I developed. You would see
Hmm.
it was containing of internal square, some
Mm,
smaller squares than the typical or the traditional Damascene houses, but you still have like your private atmosphere. You still have connections with also windows to outside to the
mm,
street. You would still have some shops on the ground floor,
yeah.
and you would fit also like a family containing of the grandfather, grandmother, the sons, and the grandsons in one house. And this is
Okay.
one of the things that was common in this neighborhood. The whole family would live all together in one house. The grandparents are in the ground floor, and then they expanded, as I said, the family vertically.
Okay.
But in my approach, or in my new typology, would see just only 2 or 3 floors
Hmm.
and not more because of the you would still have want to have to make use of these small squares, internal squares. Otherwise, they would be like shafts if you make it like four
Yeah,
or five
yeah, yeah.
stories. You would also like find the rooftops that are used also for private families. So every apartment has its own rooftop, which would be used privately.
Yeah, yeah. And dear Ayad, as I read it, I think it's also a part of the lifestyle, apart from just living together as a big family. The people, they like to spend some hours of their daily life in actually on the rooftop, right? That's
Exactly.
why there's also life there. And in your plan, in your typology, I see that you also dedicated a part of your strategy just to hold this lifestyle there, right?
Exactly. Like I said, you will hold this lifestyle at some time on the rooftop, at some time also on the ground floor, where you would find
Hmm.
also a lot of families sitting just in front of the house,
Yeah,
putting some chair and a table and spending the night in front of the house door. So I also
yeah, yeah.
one of the approaches I made that to make even a small space for families to sit in front of their houses.
That's very clever. I think you're respecting and you're respecting the lifestyle of the people there according to your observations. And that's really nice that you're respecting this lifestyle here. Uh,
This is what I personally experienced also because my grandmother used to put a chair in front of
yeah,
our house and sit like for hours and chat with neighbors and chat about neighbors maybe.
gossip. Yeah, yeah, that's a part of the lifestyle.
Yes, yes.
Spontaneous communications. I already talked with the architect Tamer Snowbar from
Mhm.
Jordan, and he meant that Jordan, the streets of Jordan, is also a scene for spontaneous communication.
Mhm.
And I think it's somehow the same for this region.
It is. It is. I guess maybe it's almost the same in Iran. I'm not really sure, but I think there are very big similarities. But in
Right,
the
right.
Arabic region, Syria, Palestine, Jordan, I would say there are always these similarities. I guess they came from the strong networks that these neighborhoods are providing or creating,
Exactly.
and from other side, it's coming maybe from the high density of the neighborhoods.
Yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. Yeah,
You can
exactly.
see here in the section, like made the shafts to make air circulation, and
Hmm.
as I said, you would have only 3 stories with a small internal square or internal yard with rooftops or with some shops in ground floors.
Yeah, I see also again in this scale, in this smaller scale, I mean in the building scale, again you're trying just to bring a new breath, just help the buildings, help the city part just to have oxygen, to just have more light. And that's also observable here in this scale.
Exactly, exactly. Because
Mm.
as I said, from a personal experience, and after realizing the catastrophic that people
Yeah,
were living in,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I've seen that this one of the most important issues that were
Mm,
happening in this neighborhood. Because I have myself a lot of aunts or uncles. They were living in homes
mm,
with almost no windows.
yeah,
And that affected the whole life quality.
yeah, yeah. I can understand it because as a student, I think I already told you, I lived for a while in a room in the city of Istanbul, and there was a very small window in my room, and my room was, I think, maximum 6 or 7 square meter, and in that room there was a small window which was looking to the shaft actually,
Mm.
and to the whole of the building. That's why I can understand it, what you mean about it.
Yes, this is a very important thing to feel comfortable in your home.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
You don't have a
exactly,
natural light, you're not feeling comfortable. It doesn't matter how good quality the walls are or the floors or which materials are used. If you don't have a natural light, you don't have a
exactly,
good life quality.
exactly.
Like an abstract perspectives about
Yeah,
the
yeah.
green corridors, green areas, the cultural center, and
Mm-hmm.
beside the mosque with the new typology here,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting.
marketplace in front of the mosque or in the backyard of the mosque, which
Mm,
is very flexible, I would say, from a praying area. Even outside of the mosque, people used to pray inside or and outside the mosque
yeah, yeah,
in summer, to a marketplace or just a place for meeting.
yeah. I understand. I understand. Very interesting. Again, a perspective from.
Again, a perspective looking to the cultural center that I
Mm-hmm.
also tried to make a visual connection between both sides.
Mm,
You can still see the mosque, you still get the connections without any uh, building in the middle, without any stop, that you would have the connection directly
yeah,
to the mosque.
clever. Interesting.
This is an illustration. This is the new building typology I developed, and you would see here the markets. Some of them are covered
Yeah, with
because of
shadowing structures.
building. Exactly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I guess this is.
Yeah, very interesting. I think that was a very interesting approach, I would say. You've started with your analysis, and after that, you developed some strategies, design strategies, not only based on your analysis, but also based on your personal experiences. And I would appreciate you because you respect the essential needs that you felt that this city part needs to be developed about it. For example, this just breathing, this green areas and the public spaces. And of course, uh, we know that public space at the end of the day is a very political issue in our countries. And that's a hot topic, that's a controversial topic. But I would also ask you, um, what are your hopes for the future of this city part? You already made a design about it, a development, but what are your hopes about it, dear Ayat?
I mean, my hopes are just, they are not only for Yarmouk camp or
Mm,
Yarmouk neighborhood. My hopes are all for all of such neighborhoods in Syria. I mean, in Syria
mm.
or in Damascus, at least there are almost 50%, like
Yeah, informal
formal
setting.
settlements,
Yeah,
informal
informal.
settlements. Like half of the city is living this way, is
Mm,
living exactly like Yarmouk neighborhood, or sometimes it's even worse because they are really informal. As I said, Yarmouk is a bit organized with some infrastructure, transportation, but on the other side, there are some neighborhoods that are completely informal without any infrastructure. Everything is random. People get water from wells. There's no transportation. People are
mm.
living on the mountains sometimes with no proper life quality.
Yeah.
Um, Most of these neighborhoods were destroyed during the war. this is a fact, a painful fact. Actually, most of people are now away from these from their homes. There are a little bit hope now that the old government, let me say, the old government is now away because, as you said, public spaces were a political issue. Maybe there's now hope to make some public spaces in Damascus in
Mm,
general or in Yarmouk especially. Um, my hope that people get some better life quality
mm.
because this affects education, this affects health, this affects mentality.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very interesting. I would say that I appreciate your master thesis, your approach, and I think that's already a very valuable work about this city part, this region, and I see the need just to do very similar and more of it about how it can be better for the future, how it can be more livable. That's why I myself, I learned today a lot from your work, from your approach, and I would thank you again. And I hope that we will see more similar projects from you for the development and for the better livable cities. That was my words, and I will just give again the platform to you for your maybe final words.
Yeah, thank you again, Amir, for this opportunity. I'm really glad that I have the opportunity to talk about my thesis, and I'm really glad you made Redialogue, so you give the people in general have the place or the opportunity to to talk about their works.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe there are very important works that people need to talk about, people need to see more, some works that they need to see some light also. So thank you again for this opportunity. um, there's maybe nothing to say, just I would make like a small commentar, how to say it,
Comment?
I will comment about my thesis. If
Yeah.
I would see it again now and with a critical point of view, maybe I would do something better. Maybe I would have a similar approach, but with different applying of this approach.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah, yeah.
um, but I'm happy with it. Still happy that the professors were happy with it also.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I miss working in this major, to be honest, because I've been working in different major like for 6 years. I miss it again to be working on such projects that are for me personally very important.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? Maybe it's just a beginning for you, just to focus again on the field that you are really enthusiastic about. Then thanks a lot. I wish you all the best, and I would say that have a nice day and take care.
Thank you, Amir. Have a nice
Bye
day.
bye.